crazy lifts, but you've been out of the game for a little while. So just like kind of give me a brief rundown on what's going on, what's been going on with you.
Well, it kind of started in March 2021, kind of like beginning of March 2021. I tore my pec just kind of out of nowhere one day. Like I had really just got back up into training again because I had taken a little bit of a break just for some personal reasons, and I'd started to get going again, and it was going pretty good. And then just one morning, I was pushing my car, and then my pec just tore up, and so since then it's like kind of just done for. So as far as like competing, that's why I haven't really competed again yet. That's kind of been like the biggest thing. I've had some smaller other little injuries, so I kept training regardless of this, and I just was doing like squats and deadlift, and I was going to do a meet this past November in Las Vegas, but I was 8 weeks out from the meet, and I was trying to deadlift 860, and I tore this left lat right here. Next day it was like all black and blue and stuff, but nothing too bad though. Like that one was recoverable. Like I was able to kind of rehab that one, get it back to feeling pretty good. But then, like literally a week and a half later, I was taking a squat. I was like, okay, well, I'll still just try to squat a little bit, and I was on like 600, and my quad tore at the bottom of it. I had to like dump it behind me and stuff, and that one hurt pretty bad because it was hard to walk right for like a couple weeks and stuff. Going up the stairs really sucked, and I was just like, it was like one of those ones where I was like, damn, I don't even know how I'm gonna get home because it was really hard to like get back in my car and drive and stuff. um but yeah, so that's kind of what's been going on with that, and then I'm just like a couple of other smaller little things, but I think I've just had some bad luck this last little bit.
Well, man, do you think the injuries are like happening more now that you've been in the game longer? Do you think that's part of it, or do you think these are just kind of random occurrences and such? Like, do you think it's the wear and tear?
Uh, you know, I I don't I kind of think that sometimes, but then I think back to how I felt after my last meet, like when I was training my hardest and stuff. Like I felt good, like I was not like too beat up or anything. Like I don't know, man, something just feels weird. I haven't like said much about this publicly to anybody because like I'm just really still kind of confused about the whole thing. But something just feels off. Like I'll pull like I've had so many other little things get hurt just like over nothing, and it's just been like the strangest thing. Like like deadlifting like 300 pounds, I'll like pull my hamstring or something. Like my hamstring will start to feel tight. Like just really, really weird things. Yeah, like I don't know. Like it's almost just like things feel like that kind of everywhere. It's almost like I'm just like systemically getting hurt, and I don't really know why. But I mean, I guess like maybe just it could just be like stress and stuff. But I mean, I feel like I've always been stressed. Something just kind of changed within like the last year. But
Well, how old are you now?
I'm 27.
Okay, and when will you be 28?
Halloween.
Okay, so you'll be 28 this year. I'll be
Yeah.
31, a couple months before that, August. It's crazy, man. It's like I got to that point in my late 20s where everything felt difficult all of a sudden. It was like, you're cruising for years and everything, like you're making progress. The progress just it's coming easily, right? And then I got to that, like, I'd say around then, like 27 past that, and like everything just slowed way down. It got more difficult. The injuries and stuff started cropping up left and right. Like my back started not cooperating. Um, just all the time it was like that. And I almost wonder if, because how long have you been lifting?
Since I was 12. So
I,
like I've been like really serious. I've been like really focused on trying to be strong since then.
well, I wonder if a lot of that is like just the years put into the game. Because
I think so. Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it. Cause like I feel like, no matter who you are, for the most part, you have like a certain amount of time to like go 100% at this. And I just started off pretty early, whereas like, we see like a lot of people go into their 30s, hitting their lifetime PRs and stuff, but maybe they didn't start until like late 20s and stuff. And I also started taking gear at a pretty young age. I was 18 when I started taking gear. So I do feel like I just kind of I got really close to whatever ceiling it was that I had just a little bit sooner, but it was because I've been competing in powerlifting since I was 15 years old. So like, yeah, so I guess, and I did have a lot of success with it for a while. It did go really good for a while. So I think maybe these are just some of the consequences now, you know.
Well, this is why like you're so fascinating to me because I see a less jacked, less tan version of myself in you in the sense that like no, for real though. I'm joking, but you're no, I don't want to blind anyone with my paleness either. But no, I feel like I see similarities as far as like we pushed it hard all those years, right? We pushed it
Yeah.
hard. I started lifting when I was 14 and I was like dabbling with bench and curls before that. And it's just the wear and tear. Everybody will be like, "Oh, you guys are like 30. You shouldn't be complaining about that." Or you're in your late 20s. You shouldn't be complaining about that. And it's like, no, it's the years in the game. And like if you guys start at 20, 25, you know, you're gonna have longer in the game. It's just how it works. You have an infinite, or you have a finite number, I should say, of reps under the bar of time you can be at your peak. And we feel like we got there. I think you would say the same thing. You kind of were close to your genetic potential, you said, even on PEDs. And now it's like that downward spiral, not really spiral, but that downward slope where things get tougher. And all of a sudden it's just difficult. Like out of nowhere, all of a sudden everything is difficult. And that's how I feel. I'm sure that's how you feel.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It's just it's is it tough to deal with that mentally? Like I had a hard time for a few years. Like I didn't progress for years. I was, you know, grinding away and like things were difficult. My back would hurt. I just wasn't progressing at the same rate. Like the meet PRs weren't there. Um, everything, my body just wasn't cooperating. And you know, similar to you with the injuries, does that get tough to kind of deal with mentally?
Yeah, it has been because, you know, like I was expecting it to kind of have to fall apart at some point. I was like, well, it's like someday I'm going to have to give this up, of course, you know. It just it happened probably like 2 years sooner than I had thought it would, you know. And I felt like with the pec thing, I felt like a lot of things just got like taken from me. I felt like I had maybe like 80 pounds more I could have like put on my total before, you know, before I felt like I was probably capable of doing that. So I guess those feelings have been pretty hard to deal with because it's kind of like, what am I supposed to do now? And I almost don't even like, you know, talking about it half the time because I still get asked about it like by everyone all the time, like, you know, when are you competing again or when or that? And I just, you know, I have to tell everybody, it's like, well, I mean, like I'm never gonna I had to realize that I won't be able to beat like my best total before. And that was kind of like the whole point of everything for me was that total number. So um and you know, people will try to tell you to be a little bit more optimistic about it, and I'm like, well, you know, I think I'm just being pretty realistic about it too, you know. So yeah, I guess it is kind of hard to deal with, but I do feel very good. Like one thing that makes me feel better about it is I did kind of it did go really good for me for quite a while before it kind of fell apart. So if I didn't have that like good luck streak or the streak where it went really good for a while, then I think I'd have a lot harder time dealing with it now. But yeah, it definitely has been pretty tough over this last year. Like it feel like a little like kind of directionless. Like sometimes I feel like I can get back into it still, and then it's just like this weird back and forth. And sometimes I'm like, oh no, I need to kind of go in a different direction now. And then it's like maybe one day I'll feel kind of good and feel a little bit encouraged, and then you know the next day can kind of come crashing down. So it's just been a weird thing lately.